Top of the morning. Very, very spicy last night in the chat, but all things have been worked out with me and P-Town. No drama heading into our game. And Relief Brown will serve a now 2-game suspension starting after. I definitely want to make sure that the optics look good in terms of, hey, is Finn suspending people when he's about to play them? Plus, P-Town came to the DMs after everything cooled down, and we smoothed it all out. So we will strike a game off of that. So let's talk about where we're at. I mean, it is week 11. We're in the final couple weeks of the season. I figured let's take a look at the conference, the current conference layout, because there's some interesting conference battles going on right now. Let's start with the ACC. So 9-0, number 4 ranked in the country, North Carolina, sit atop the board. 5-0 in the conference. They've looked fantastic. They're the only team in that conference under 200 points allowed. A point differential of 249. The next highest is 98. So Warren is looking fantastic. The two teams, though, that are in second place, battling at 4-1, Florida State. So 4-1 in conference. Looking pretty good. Solid defense there from Florida State. But then Pitt is also 4-1. Pitt 4-1. Ricky is low-key building something out there. So keep that thing in mind. Let's see. Do they play each other or have they played each other? They play each other here soon. There's a bias. Florida State's going to play. I don't know. Florida State's got this week. I saw him mention something in chat. Was it Warren? Yeah, so he's got Warren and then Pitt. So Florida State, if he wants a chance, is really going to have to figure this out and win. Either I think he's just got to beat Pitt, really. If he loses to UNC, that's 2 losses, but he beats Pitt, he wins and gets to. So Florida State chooses his fate. Pitt, same deal. So nobody's got a lucky scenario where they're waiting on. You can control your own fate is the words I'm looking for here. Looking at the Big 12 here, there's 2 guys atop the board. They're 1 and 2 ranked in the nation. 5-0 Texas A&M, 6-0 in the conference. Ole Miss, this is just conference records. 9-0 actually for A&M across the board. 8-1 for Ole Miss. So 1 and 2 teams in the nation. Defensively more sound is A&M and 2 elite running backs. Ahmad Hardy from Mizzou, he transferred to A&M. Disgusting running back, one of the best in the game. He's at A&M. Isaac Brown from Louisville transferred to Ole Miss. Disgusting running back, one of the best in the game. So 2 teams that have got high-powered offenses are going to be battling. I do believe they play each other this week as well. So we have a preview here of this game, of conference championship game, going on this week. So big battles there. Nebraska is ranked 12th, but they are kind of on the bubble there, 3-2 in conference. Big Ten, this is an interesting one. We have 4 teams with 1 loss: Ohio State, Notre Dame, Penn State, Washington. Now, Ohio State sits on top. They have a loss to Penn State, but they have beaten both Notre Dame and they have beaten Washington. All right, they're 1 loss. So as long as and I don't even think he has any more big conference games he's got Tennessee. That's it. He will do it without Jeremiah Smith. But yeah, 5-1 there. As long as there's another thing is Notre Dame, Penn State, and Washington all have to play each other, right? Notre Dame, he's got Washington this week, Penn State. So one of them ends up with 2 losses, and then Penn State is going to turn around, and he's got Notre Dame and Washington. So the only thing they can hope for, I don't know exactly how it all works out, but Ohio State just needs to hope that Penn State doesn't sweep all of those games against Notre Dame. And even if he does, all of those teams would have 2 losses. So I think we're guaranteed for Ohio State to get in, even if he loses, because he's got tiebreaker. So Notre Dame, Penn State, Washington, those games will matter a lot. Pac-12, there are the 5-0 Arizona State Sun Devils sitting on top. And then there's UCLA 3-1, just lost to ASU. Oregon lost to Utah. Shout out Utah. So those guys will be battling. I don't know if they played each other yet. They play each other soon. They play each other. Oregon plays ASU next week and UCLA. So interesting battles there. Those will matter to see between Oregon and UCLA who can get in. UCLA themselves, they are going to be playing Oregon and then USC, so steal an opportunity to dish out another conference loss to potentially shake things up. So Pac-12 looking good. I am not liking the Utah Utes 309 points allowed. Oregon with 146 points allowed. I think that's the lowest that I've seen so far. All right, and then Texas, Georgia, and LSU sit atop the SEC. LSU just gave Texas their first conference loss of the season, dominant fashion. Also, not to put his business out there, but Texas dealing with some personal stuff. I don't know how that's going to dictate, the rest of the season. He's got a game against Georgia this week. I'm not sure if that is going to get played. So depending on how that goes will determine if Georgia makes it. LSU has the tiebreaker. So if Texas wants in, I think he has to win against Georgia here. However, LSU does have to play Georgia as well. That's the end of his conference schedule. Georgia's got Texas and LSU back to back. So, we will see how things shake out, but only two can make it. South Carolina is on the outside at 3-2. I think there is a world where he gets a chance to get in, and he does have a win over LSU, but he has a loss to Utah and a loss to Texas, so I don't imagine that he is in. So there is your conference look. Let's take a look at some of the games that occurred and talk about it. So first off, that suspension we're talking about. Let's just keep in mind that we don't have too many rules in this league at the moment. So the more, when we see these infractions, let's keep on. Also, let's update on the fourth down rules. We got some guys that are breaking fourth down rules. We've seen some hefty suspensions. We've seen some ones that are kind of retribution. For example, there's a broken fourth down rule by Boise State against P-Town. Later on, though, P-Town ran the score up against him and threw a bomb. So I considered that the punishment needed. But hey, let's follow our fourth down rules, okay? All right, last week, big games. UNC beat down on Pitt, 41-10. Big 12 matchup. Auburn was able to beat Texas Tech, 31-24. Danny, obviously, with the move this season, 3-6. But expect Auburn back next year as that initial recruiting class gets to see some playing time. A&M puts up 77 on Arkansas. Can we not? All right. Ohio State's losing Jeremiah Smith. That suspension will be announced here soon. Do not run the score up, guys. Let's not throw bombs to our starting player receivers. Up 31 points at the end of the game. Washington able to beat Tennessee, sitting at 6-3, is the new user to our league, Mr. Kyle Gordon. Love that. ASU and UCLA. It was close for a bit, then ASU took over that game. Like I mentioned, Utah able to rebound from what happened against UCLA. Played well, dropped 21 points in the third quarter, and able to hold off a more defensive matchup than what we've seen. USC able to beat Boise. Mentioned LSU putting a beat down on Texas, 51-17. Georgia put a beat down on Willie in one of the nastiest ways. I mean, that was the Nate Frazier usage was genuinely despicable. 229 yards, 3 touchdowns. Frazier is going bananas right now. So, all right. So, yeah, that recaps some of the big matchups we've got going on. I would say look at the Heisman watch, but I imagine it's Frazier, Isaac Brown. It's actually Isaac Brown up top right now, coming off 284 yards. Let's take a look. 1,500 yards for Isaac Brown, 19 rushing touchdowns, 32 catches for 404 yards. So we are pushing 2K territory for Isaac Brown. Then you have Nate Frazier, who has eclipsed the 2,000-yard mark. 2,002 rushing yards and 28 rushing touchdowns. The greatest season by a running back in history. Jeremiah Smith, 1,500 yards, 23 receiving touchdowns on the year on just 59 catches. Insanity. Only 300 yards after catch. So of his 1,500, 1,200 were air yards. Taylor Tatum, halfback. For Washington, interesting to see him on here. He is over 1,000 all-purpose yards, 814 on the ground, 510 in the air, 19 rushing touchdowns. So interesting there. 95 speed, 97 acceleration, gold shifty. And then, of course, Caden Durham. Caden has got 1,200 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns, and 400 via the air. So there's your Heisman grouping right now. 4 halfbacks and a wide receiver. So, um, yeah, a lot of dominant ground games. Then you have like Texas A&M who can run the ball over anybody, but he's got 2 guys that he's using to do so. So, all right, well then that's this week's episode of Top of the Morning. See you guys here soon for some playoff football.